Sometimes incredible pain and suffering can transform into the greatest joy without even knowing it. In the summer of 1988, I was a 7-year-old boy that had my entire life planned out in front of me. Did you know what you wanted to be when you were a child? I found out since that many people don't, and that I was an exception. I knew from a very young age that I would be going into the military, and my initial plans were that I'd be an Army helicopter pilot. My dad was a pilot, and that's what I grew up around, and that's what I dreamed of doing. We lived on post on Fort Campbell, Kentucky, in a small 3-bedroom duplex, and it was in the officer housing area. In the summer of 1988, my dad was deployed to Honduras, so it was just me, my mom, and my little sister. On a hot August night, we went to Olin Mills and had family pictures done to send to my dad while he was deployed. I was wearing a suit and tie, and I hated dressing up. So as soon as we got home, I couldn't wait to get it off and change into something comfortable. We got home and my mom began cooking dinner, and that night we were eating tacos. She had a habit of frying up the tortillas to make them crispy, and that was a common meal that we all shared. Me and my sister were in a back bedroom, and what started out as planned quickly turned into arguing and fighting. This was a common occurrence since I was 7, almost 8, and she was 4, almost 5 years old. My mom came back there to the bedroom that we were in and started breaking us up and talking to us, and began crying and talking about how difficult it was with my dad being gone all the time, and how she needed us to step it up and be kind to each other and to get along. Well, as she was talking to us, all at once, the sound of the smoke alarm pierced the air, and you could smell smoke at the same time. My mom jumped up and ran to the kitchen, and I was right behind her, and my sister was right behind me. When I turned the corner into the kitchen, all I could see were flames coming off the top of the stove and licking the cabinets and setting the cabinets and ceiling on fire. I pushed my sister back out of the doorway into the living room from the kitchen, and my mom had already begun wrapping her hand in a paper towel. She wrapped her hand up and picked up the skillet and yelled at me to open the front door. The front door in the housing areas were directly beside the kitchen, like a little hallway going into the house. So I got the front door open, and we had a storm door, and at the age of 7, I wasn't able to unlock the storm door and get it open. So my mom was standing back behind me, and as the fire in the skillet was burning, it ended up burning her hands, and she dropped it. When she dropped the skillet, she was standing almost directly behind me, so my shirt, shorts, and skin almost instantly ignited as the flaming oil fell on my body. I was able to run into the door, breaking the locking mechanism, and getting outside. I immediately dove into the ground and rolled myself out, trying to put the fire out. Once my body was no longer on fire, I hopped up and I ran back inside the house to get my mom and sister. I was able to get them out, and what was left of the fire burning had begun to put itself out between the ground and the kitchen. I remember looking down at my clothes and seeing my shirt and shorts were almost burned completely off my body, and what wasn't burned off was melted into my skin. Since we lived in a duplex, our neighbors heard our screams and came outside to investigate. She had a tiny little pickup, and I remember her crowding all of us into it and speeding off to the hospital. The next 2 months were a blur, and I had several skin graft surgeries and learned what pain truly was. Burn recovery is an excruciating process. During this time, I was also interviewed, and the big question was why and how did I know to stop, drop, and roll? I told them that Sparky the fire dog and Mr. Alert from the Fort Campbell Fire Department had come to my school the previous year. They drilled into us what to do in the event that your clothes ever caught on fire. Little did I know that at that time that information would save my life. With me being released from the hospital in the beginning of October, the Fort Campbell Fire Department invited me to come along for Fire Prevention Week to every elementary school on post. This was the first time I ever rode on a fire engine. So I went around to all the schools, I shared my story with the kids there, and told them how stop, drop, and roll saved my life. So from the very first time I ever sat on the back seat of a fire truck with the lights and sirens on, I knew that my life's plan had changed. Although there was still a strong urge to be an Army aviator, riding backwards on a fire truck with lights and sirens on overtook it. So out of incredible physical pain, my greatest love was born, and now here I am 37 years later, and I still love getting on a big red truck with lights and sirens.